What's up guys, it's Brian with Turp Mechanic. I got a question over on the main Turp Mechanic channel earlier today. This is probably a question that a lot of people have given to me, but I was just inspired today to answer it in video form. The question had to do with how do you identify or compare the difference, or I don't know, identify Bermuda grass and Kikuyu grass in a lawn. This is really common for Southern California, possibly Arizona, maybe Hawaii, but that kind of area of the country, maybe going up the California coast, maybe Las Vegas, things like that. Common Bermuda grass and Kikuyu grass, these are lawns that can be manicured and taken care of just like a regular lawn. Like you could kill everything out of it and just maintain a common Bermuda grass lawn or a Kikuyu grass lawn or a combination of the both. But if you have anything else that you want to run in your lawn, Bermuda grass and Kikuyu grass end up being a weed that really can make your lawn look not so great. So right here, what you see behind me in this main lawn right here, this is predominantly Bermuda grass. I've been taking care of it like a Bermuda grass lawn for the past 12 months or so, and I've gotten it to the point where it's almost 100%. Oops, there's a leaf there, look at that. It's almost 100% Bermuda grass, but I do still have some Kikuyu grass still mixed in, predominantly over here by the sidewalk. So I want to go ahead and show you. But I also, on the other side of my SUV over there, I'm running a Kentucky bluegrass lawn space. It's very small, but still, it's Kentucky bluegrass lawn space. And in it, I have a little bit of remnant Bermuda grass and Kikuyu grass. So I want to go show you what it looks like over there. So in addition to all of that, we've got mature stuff, we got invading like baby stuff coming into lawns, but I also have these little pots back here. One of those pots is a Kikuyu grass pot and the other is a Bermuda grass pot. It's the same Bermuda grass that I run here on the lawn. The Kikuyu is an improved variety, so it's not the common stuff that you're going to see in lawns all around Southern California, but it's the Whitted variety, and there's almost no variety. So if you go buy Whitted Kikuyu grass seed, it's enormously expensive. I can't imagine too many people out there run Whitted Kikuyu grass, but I got a pot of Whitted, so I'll show you what that looks like up close. It doesn't look a whole lot different from the common Kikuyu grass that you see growing everywhere. All right, let's start right here in the main Bermuda grass lawn. All right, in the lawn, don't mind the nutsedge. I've allowed this to grow extra tall. I sprayed it with nutsedge killer earlier. So here you go. This is a Bermuda grass seed head. So if you see seed heads growing in your lawn, you know that that's Bermuda grass. But right next to it, let's look at this right here. See this right here? This is kind of what Bermuda grass looks like up close. Now it's really dense, it's a nice dense mat in there. I do need to thin it out. I have not scarified this lawn in ages. It needs it desperately. So you're gonna see a little bit of this brown deep down. The brown is essentially the dead parts or some of the stemmy parts of the Bermuda grass. So if you look at it up close, you see the stemmy part. Depending on what part of the plant you're grabbing, this is a stolon or a stem. A stolon is going side to side and a stem is going up and down. They're largely the same thing, although they are technically different. But if you don't scalp it very often, you're going to start seeing a lot of this brown, which is what you're seeing here in the lawn. Now, I have been allowing my Bermuda grass to spread. I've been heavily fertilizing it, trying to get it to cover dirt for a long time. So I haven't taken the scarifier to it or the power rake to it in a long time. It is overdue. As we go closer to the edges, it's actually it looks a little bit different. So here you go. This is Bermuda grass that has spread under, most likely, under this little curb, and then that only goes down like 4 or 5 inches or so. So rhizomes go out underground. So not only do stolons come out above ground, like you're seeing right here, this is coming sideways, but rhizomes go underground. And that's one reason why Bermuda grass and Kikuyu grass are so invasive, because Kikuyu grass will do the same thing. It will stoloniferous growth go over the top of this into your garden bed, but it will also go underneath. And then of course it's going to go through the lawn. Like if you got a hole here, like it's a dead spot, then it's going to close back in on itself from above and below ground growth, both of these grass types. So this is an area of Bermuda grass that I have not mowed. And you can see when you don't mow it very much, and the reason I'm not mowing it is because it's on the other side. It's kind of in my lavender plant. This is a garden bed, or I wouldn't quite call it a garden bed, but it's a landscape bed. But this grass is not getting mowed. So you can see how far apart the leaves are. But you can also see how thin the stem is. You can see all these little teeny tiny hairs at the base of every leaf. You can see that there's not really a major vein going down, and it doesn't look like it's highly textured like a turf type tall fescue might be. It's just a basic leaf. And when you don't mow it, all of these leaves really spread out wide. But over here, if you go into an area where you're cutting the grass all of the time, and let me just rough it up with my fingers so I can pull something up out of the ground. There you go. This is literally the same stuff. You can tell that the leaves are significantly closer together. So each node is tighter. And the reason it's tighter is because I'm mowing this frequently. So the more you mow it, the tighter these nodes and the leaf growths are going to be. So again, here you go. Those are kind of on the tighter side. And then if I just pluck this out from underneath my lavender, you can see they're significantly further apart. But how does this compare to Kikuyu grass? There's my shadow there. Remember, this is a rough video. All right, over here on the edge, this is where I still have Kikuyu grass existing in my main lawn. So here, I've put those Bermuda grass things right there on the sidewalk. And you can see how, I'm gonna call this delicate. Let's call this delicate. But take a look at this right here. See that? That is not delicate. This is beefy. I would call this like, I don't know, like vegetable broth, and that's like Texas chili right there. That's the difference. This is mature Kikuyu grass. The stolen is it's like a rope. It's like a rope. Now, if we look at the uncut, the unmowed blades, so we've got a nice pointed tip. This blade itself kind of has like a little bit of a vein going down the middle, slightly resembling the vein going down Kentucky bluegrass, whereas the Bermuda doesn't quite have that vein, but it does have the super duper pointed leaf tip. I can't get my camera to focus. Super pointy leaf tip. Now, Kikuyu grass is frequently misidentified as St. Augustine. St. Augustine does not have this pointed leaf tip. It's got more of a rounded, tip. Here, let me quickly show you. This is St. Augustine. You see that leaf tip right there? That is not pointed. That's got significantly more of a round. It's got that vein down the middle, kind of wants a bend on itself, but it is a very round tip. While the Kikuyu grass is very pointy. This is a different Kikuyu grass than I plucked before. But down at the base, all of the nodes are really close together. You've got a lot of brown. This turns into almost like a woody, sort of stemmy kind of a thing. Like I almost feel like you can bend and crack it. Not quite, but it's close. But when you compare that to a Bermuda grass stem or stolon, they're just significantly skinnier and much more pliable. Yeah. So here with the Bermuda grass, see we've got little teeny tiny bit of hairiness at the base of each leaf. Whereas if we look at the Kikuyu grass stem, we kind of see a little bit of hair everywhere. Hair everywhere. You can quote me on that, because it's fun to say. So anyway, for those of you guys who are running any sort of, here in Southern California, you're going to find like a fescue lawn. You're going to find fescue lawns all over the place. If you've got a fescue lawn and you've got something like this in it, this is very, very different from fescue. That is Bermuda. This is Kikuyu grass. Some people maintain complete Bermuda grass lawns. Right now, this is, I would call this about 90 to 95% Bermuda lawn right now. We've got a lot of nutsedge and a little bit of Kikuyu in there. But you're also going to find a lot of people here in Southern California run only Kikuyu lawns that are infested with other things. And when you have a Kikuyu lawn, you've got this really abrasive base to the plant. So everything kind of grows side to side and then it sticks up on the end. You're walking on this little spot, but there's a ton of meaty stolons that don't feel good deep down. So it's kind of like St Augustine, because these are under the leaf canopy but above the dirt, like the soil level. And then when you take kind of like a St Augustine grass, if you've got predominantly Kikuyu lawn and you cut it low, and that would be almost every single Kikuyu lawn possible. Like, look at this across the street. Here you go, this one. See this right here? As you zoom in, this lawn is predominantly Kikuyu grass. He just mowed it, and you'll see all of this brown tinge to it. Every time you mow a Kikuyu lawn, you're seeing all of the stems, all of this brown stemminess down there at the bottom. So a Kikuyu lawn really should be thinned out with a scarifier regularly. I'm gonna say ballpark every couple months or so. You should probably thin this thing out, and then you should maintain it at a very high cut if you don't want to see all of that brown. With a Bermuda lawn, you're going to be scalping it 1, maybe 2 times every year, but it's nowhere near as stemmy brown as Kikuyu is. And because it can be maintained really super tight on the ground, you can cut it significantly lower regularly throughout the season. Let me go show you my fancy Kikuyu in the pot over there. All right, here it is. I don't cut this pot as often as I mow the grass, so I let it grow up all crazy and gangly, but this is Whitted Kikuyu. And you can see, like, there's, like, most of these blades have been cut with scissors or grass shears, so they don't have that pointed tip because of mowing. But if I were to dig in deep and pull out some, let's see, there's one that hasn't been cut. That's that kind of pointed tip. This one almost has a rounded, slightly a rounded shape, almost like the St. Augustine, and this is nowhere near as abrasive. And like I said, this is Whitted Kikuyu. This is an improved variety. But if I were to plug anything out, let's just grab something. You've still got at the base, it goes from dark green to light green to pale green, and then you start getting into this more brown stemmy bottom. But still, remember, this was sitting upwards like this. So your leaf system is very loose. It's not tight. So this is going to be a much better grass to be grown taller, like a St. Augustine, as opposed to Bermuda, which has a very tight node and leaf structure. When you mow it often, you can keep it really, really short. And that's why a lot of people will reel mow Bermuda grass, but most people won't. Most people won't. I mean, you certainly can. There's tons of people, even on YouTube, other YouTube channels, that reel mow or mow their Kikuyu grass enormously short. You can definitely get it done, but it grows so fast that it's just one of those things that if I was going to maintain an entire Kikuyu grass lawn, I would not want to come out and mow every single day, because it grows so fast. And these stolons that reach out across the ground, these things, like if I were to leave this pot alone, other than just giving it water, these stolons would start reaching out all the way over in just like a couple weeks. Like it's nuts. It's crazy how fast this Kikuyu grass can move. There does seem to be a little bit more herbicides that you can use on Kikuyu grass to kill it or control it than Bermuda, but I would call it just as invasive and arguably more of a nuisance because it doesn't blend in to everything else nearly as well. Perhaps if I had a St. Augustine lawn and Kikuyu was invading it, it would kind of blend together fairly well. But I have never personally seen that, and that's not really very common. You can buy St. Augustine grass plugs here in Southern California. I got them at my local Home Depot. So in theory, I could like plug a lawn space with St. Augustine, and then like a neighbor lawn could accidentally seed Kikuyu into it, and I could have an infested St. Augustine lawn infested with Kikuyu grass, but it's not very common. Very, very possible, but just not common. It's another point is St. Augustine is not going to put on seed heads, so you're not going to accidentally seed your neighbor's lawn with St. Augustine seed heads. You can't even buy seeds for St. Augustine grass, but with Kikuyu, that's one of the reasons why Kikuyu is considered invasive and St. Augustine isn't. St. Augustine does not have underground rhizomes. Kikuyu grass does. St. Augustine doesn't put on seed heads that can like seed in your neighbor's lawn. Kikuyu grass does. So Kikuyu and Bermuda are similar in the fact that lots and lots of people don't want it, and it's almost impossible to get rid of it. Certainly is impossible to get it out of a lawn and keep it out of the lawn. It's more of a manage the problem situation. All right. That's it. That's unscripted, just me vibing here on grass types that a lot of people don't want. If you got any questions about these sorts of things, just drop them in the comments. I'll try to answer. But like I said, these are things that a lot of people don't want. And they look very, very different from each other. So I hope that helps.